In a galaxy long, long ago, far, far away, we worked together.
That's true.
At the College of William & Mary in Williamsburg, Virginia.
Yeah.
Back in the time when people weren't sure on that campus whether the web was really going to take off.
The internet was still new.
The internet
yes,
was
absolutely.
still new.
Yeah.
And you know, when I think about you, in that time that we worked together, I think about you as my partner in crime.
Yeah, it's a reputation I have, and I've tried to continue that sort of disruption everywhere I go.
Yeah, and I think I just remember way back us working really hard to create a model of governance and a model for content at the College of William & Mary. So it's really great to see you again and
yeah,
to
it's
be
great
able
to see you
chat
too.
with you
It's
here.
been a while.
So it has. So you're in a fairly new position.
Brand new role.
Yeah, it's a brand new job and
Mm-hmm.
brand new to you at Clarkson University, Potsdam, New York.
Potsdam, New York.
So what do you do? What's your new job?
So I am the Associate Vice President for Marketing, which is, to my knowledge, the first time they've ever had a dedicated marketing role at Clarkson. So I am leading sort of a brand revolution sort of thing, doing a lot of different projects around establishing a point of prominence as a top-tier research university for a small little place in Potsdam, New York that most people don't know, but we do remarkable work.
Right.
It's a place that the core is so good that my job is much, much easier just to market it and make it a little bit more well-known and really work with its reputation. So I oversee the web side of things, as well as content creation and the creative services side, as well as photography, design, that kind of stuff. So my hands are in a lot of different places.
Okay. So on your best days, when you're coming to work and you feel the most wonderful about what you're doing, concretely, what are you doing on those days?
I am thinking about how everything connects. I think one of the things that I think is coming out more and more, particularly at AMA and other places, is that branding isn't as simple as it used to be. Our understanding of it is much more profound, and we understand that experiences starting in the K through 12 range all the way through donors and sort of that lifetime continuum of engagement is shaped by not just the way that we talk about ourselves and not just our collateral or our materials, but very much the experiences and how we shape them. And so on my best days, I'm able to take the things that I do have some control over and make them relevant to every piece of that interaction with our brand, with our university. And so it's a lot of just drawing connections that may not be obvious at first. So things like the tours, the campus tours, and making sure that the hallway decorations are appropriate and are communicating the kinds of things that we're saying, that one thing is reinforcing another. So sort of establishing an ecosystem almost, so everything is supporting everything else. So it's wonderful when I'm able to take something that may not seem connected and bring it to light in a way that does connect it and see people walk away with what we were trying to get them to walk away with, but having it be so genuine and authentic. It's not layered on top of the Clarkson experience, it's actually part of who we are.
That makes a whole lot of sense, because I think people are pretty good at pointing out where the points of failure are in that kind of setup, so it's really good that you're thinking about all those things. The other thing that I always come back to when I think about early years working with you and following your career since is that you were talking about content before it was cool. You really were. Yeah, you were talking about content, in my opinion, before content strategy was really the topic it is now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, kind of talk me through why that was true for you. I think I have some ideas. And then, what it means to you now and what's content strategy for you.
So, yeah, I came out of a liberal arts education. I have a degree in English and harbored this idea that I was going to be a famous novelist at some point, and then sort of my senior year of college realized that I needed to take some practical English courses, not just give my opinion about books, and it kind of carried over the idea that content has value and meaning, and writing is really critically important, and I always like words, and so putting that into everything that I did. My first job out of school was as a newspaper writer. I learned how important content was, and I worked for a small semi-weekly paper in southeastern Virginia. And I honestly think that shaped a lot of my understanding of how poignant content and writing can be, because when you're in a small community, everything you say matters more. It's not as easy to ignore or avoid. It's very much how people communicate with one another, keep up with their communities, and universities are these microcosms that are very similar to small communities where everyone knows everything, and there's a real sense of community and ownership of news. And so working at William & Mary, I came in as basically a features writer. I was doing very little on the web when I started, but quickly learned that that content, that what we were producing was meaningful to the people in that community, and
web-worthy.
Yes, web-worthy, and moving from the idea that it needed to just be in print or didn't exist to really thinking publishing on the web as a way to extend and amplify what we were doing rather than just collect sort of the print to web. And then we were there at the same time where it was just copy it up and put it on the website, and then it's on the internet, we're good, right? And so, and then we worked together. I remember working with you on seeing how people were using content and where they were falling out of the process. So adopting analytics very, very early on too. And I think you take a look at how people use your site, where they fall off, the kinds of things that they need from an organization just on an informational perspective, and the opportunity to really shape that content in a much more meaningful way that conveys the attributes and characteristics of the brand, of the university. And so at the time it was a very, very selfish endeavor to just try and get writing on the web.
Sure.
And then realizing that it has some impact. It had the potential to be very, very important, and quickly understanding the need to draw that parallel between all the information we're putting out there and the way that we represent the university and the brand. And that to me is content strategy, is figuring out how to tell the story as best as you possibly can in a way that's consistent, accurate, and authentic with who you are as an institution and as a university. So I was lucky at William & Mary that I had people who were also in support of that, and I think part of that is the liberal arts side of things. Is There's a real interest and joy in sort of storytelling, and William & Mary is a place that had unbelievable character, still does, has unbelievable character, and there was no shortage of that to talk about. So and part of working on the web and coming from a liberal arts background, you have those moments where you have, very much like leaving college, where I thought, well, I have to do something practical now with this English degree. The same kind of thing. You need to structure it, you need to organize it, you need to make it a workflow, a process that's repeatable and that other people can benefit from. So my first exposure with content management systems was working with the staff at William & Mary saying, I needed to do these things. We need to shift things around. I remember enabling podcasting and sort of it was good times. So it's good times. It's that really where I end up most of the time is somewhere at that weird intersection of storytelling and technical, and half the time I'm just a translator. So
that's okay too.
Yeah, and content strategy now has taken on a life of its own. I think there's an entire industry now around this idea that content is the most important asset that we have, and that the web exists largely to present that content and those stories in various and fascinating ways. And whenever I talk about content strategy, I'm always fascinated how specific and in the weeds you can get with any one facet of it. As I laugh that there are people who really like auditing stuff, and that's weird to me.
It's weird to me too.
But there's a whole group of people.
But I'm thankful for them.
Oh, absolutely. Somebody's got to do it.
Somebody's got to do it.
But the audit and analysis piece of that, and then the structuring and the use of technology to make things easier and more efficient and also more effective. And we're way past the rise of mobile when we're full on in it. Yeah. And so I guess seeing how the content strategy sort of was the prelude to effective mobile communication as well, it's been really neat to be a part of that and talk about it. I always like to go back to the stuff that I put together at William & Mary, trying to make a case for strategic content and how we needed to organize it and change the landing page strategy and all those things, and the struggles that were there, and now how much easier it would have been. It's come a long way.
It has.
Yeah.
It has. Well, great.